Hi, it's Amanda. How's it going? Today I wanted to give you an update on how it's going with not shopping, and I also wanted to talk about some of my favorite products. So I don't know that an update on not shopping is actually super interesting at this point, because I'm not the kind of person who would go out and buy something every single day. So like the fact that I've gone for a month without shopping now is not actually that monumental. But I do think that I've had a bit of a shift in my attitude. So for example, when I was duping some palettes, which you can see in previous videos that I will link in the description below, that kind of did show to me that there's not a lot of things out there that are so unique that I cannot find something equivalent in my own collection that I already have at this point. So that kind of soothed my mind a bit and kind of, you know, reassured me that I will not have the most barren year of my life. The second thing that I was thinking about was my favorite product in every category. Maybe not literally every single one, because there's definitely some that I don't care about. But I noticed that I have this idea that the ideal for me would be to have just one of everything, and it would be the best ever, and I wouldn't need anything else. And then as I was thinking about it, I was like, that is so boring. Like, in some categories, yes. Like foundation, for example, I would prefer to have probably one full coverage and one light coverage, and then that's it. So yeah, for some categories, it definitely makes sense. I know that some people love having a million different foundations, which I really can't relate to. But I suppose it's the same as with eyeshadow for me. Like, I love having way too many eyeshadows that I'm never gonna use up. And I guess we all feel differently. So when it comes to primer, I don't actually use like actual primer that much because my skin is quite good and I don't feel that I need it. So for me, it's just kind of an unnecessary product. I used to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, which I know everyone loved for a while. I'm not sure if it's that trendy anymore, but I think it is good. It's just that it doesn't really do anything for me that I actually need. So what I started doing, rather than using a silicone-based primer, I would use something that was water-based and more geared towards hydration. It would also kind of help makeup adhere a bit better and stay on a bit longer. But my main goal was hydration, and I didn't always feel that my moisturizer was the best product to use right before my foundation. So my actual favorite is the H2O Skin Drink from Pixi, which is, it's kind of like a water-based gel. It feels really, really nice. And I love using it without makeup as well. Like, I would just use it day to day kind of thing. So I don't have it at the moment because I finished it because it was my favorite. And it's on my list to buy for 2020. But I also like the Farsali Unicorn Essence Serum that everybody loves. And I have to admit that when I bought it, like, I had no idea what it was meant to do or anything. I just bought it because I've seen it online a lot and I am a sheep. When it comes to foundation, I am still on my journey to find the perfect foundation. But the best that I have found so far is Skin Base by Illamasqua, because it gives such a beautiful skin-like finish, but good coverage, and it is long lasting. It stays on really nicely and it's just perfect. Apart from the fact that they don't actually have my shade, and they do have a white mixer, so I could mix up my shade, but I hate having to do that. So their lightest warm shade is just a bit too yellow and too dark for me. So if I do mix in some of the white mixer, it's perfect. But I am not in the mood to do that every single morning. You know, I could go and get something to mix up a batch in or whatever, but it's always a bit of a gamble to get it right. So I just don't enjoy having to do that. So I am still on the lookout for the perfect foundation. Two others that I do enjoy using is the Bobbi Brown Skin Stick. I'm using Porcelain, which is the perfect shade for me, and it also gives a beautiful skin-like finish. But the issue is that it just doesn't stay on. Like, if you're wearing it for 2 hours or less, it's perfect, it's beautiful. But I need something that's a bit more long wearing, and I haven't found a way, or like I haven't found a good combination of other products as well to make it stay on a bit better. So for that reason, it's not something that I would purchase again, really. I'm also using the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, but it is just too drying for me. So, I mean, it's fine if I mix it with something, but again, I don't want to be sat here every morning mixing my foundation. I want something that's perfect right out the gate. When it comes to concealer, I think my favorite that I've ever used is probably the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, but it is not cruelty free, so I don't want to use it anymore. So what I've been using recently is the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, which is really good. I like that it doesn't crease, but just like the foundation, it is a tiny bit drying. So I am probably happy with it for now. I don't think that I would go out and try and find something else, because I really, really hate when concealers crease. And it is really difficult to find one that doesn't do that, especially because I am getting some fine lines underneath my eyes. When it comes to highlighter, I could probably make a video just about my favorite highlighters. So this is quite a difficult choice. But what I ended up settling on was the Beauty Light Wand by Charlotte Tilbury, which I love because as a liquid concealer, you can use it with or without foundation. Even if this is just the only thing that you wear that day, you will look amazing. It just has a very natural lit from within glow, and it's not like glittery or anything. I don't like glittery highlighters, so I think this is perfect. The major drawback, I would say, is that it's not suitable for very many skin tones. So if you're over, I would say like NC or NW30 in MAC, don't go for this. If you know your shade in Charlotte Tilbury foundations, anyone who's over A7 cannot use this because it does have a bit of a silvery tint to it. But for someone who is a bit lighter, it is da bomb. So I'm still gonna put it on my favorites list. When it comes to brows, I'm not even gonna bother talking about anything but Dip Brow, because we all know that it is the OG and it's amazing because you can get such a wide range of looks out of it. Like, if you wanna go very natural, it's perfect. If you wanna go super snatched, it's perfect. I do enjoy the whole like brow mascara, boy brow kind of style thing as well that we have going on now. But I'm not fully ready to commit to it. Like, I don't know if it's just a trend that I'm gonna look back at and be like, really, in 6 months? So ask me again in 6 months and we'll see what I say. When it comes to blush, I don't know that I've ever sat down and been like, oh, I prefer this blush over this blush. Like, not in terms of formula, at least. Maybe in terms of color, yes, absolutely. But when it comes to formula, it is literally all the same to me. Obviously we've got powder and we've got creams, but apart from that, like, I literally could not tell you the difference. So, I mean, I can tell you that I'm still loving the Work blush from Milk. And I love applying it with a brush because I'm not a fan of just like going in and like drawing on my cheeks with a stick. But if you use a brush on this, it's really easy to get like a super natural looking blush. And I also love this one. It's the First Love blush from Charlotte Tilbury. And it's a bit orange toned. It looks really brown toned on camera, but it's like, I'm wearing it now and I feel like it's a beautiful subtle coral. So like not super orange like they sometimes pull. Yeah, I like it. I used to use Orgasm, but I actually feel like it's a bit too bright for me. I know that I'm one of the few people who would probably say that, and I think it is a really nice universal shade. But again, I am not into the whole animal testing thing, so NARS is out the window right now. When it comes to eyeshadow palettes, that is, as I alluded to earlier, probably the thing that I would struggle the most to have just one palette and be like, okay, this is the only thing that I'm allowed to use for the rest of my life. I just love having a wide variety of colors and finishes, and I love being able to create many different eye looks with different colors and textures and that kind of thing. So I would hate to have to pick one eyeshadow palette, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is that I definitely prefer the formula of Anastasia Beverly Hills over a lot of others. And I know that some people feel that it has too much kick up and that it's too like powdery, but I like that because you get a really great color payoff and it is really, really easy to blend. So I never tried Subculture, for example, but everyone was saying that it had so much kick up that it was just absolutely unusable. But I don't mind having a lot of kick up as long as I know that I actually get a good payoff on my face. I will say that my Modern Renaissance palette has been one of the ones that I've hit pan on the most shades in. Not just because I've used it so much, I don't think, but because you kind of have to dig in it, or like you end up digging in it. I end up digging in it. And you probably end up wasting quite a bit of product. But if we're being real, for the most part, we never finish eyeshadow palettes, right? Like, if you have one, maybe you would finish it, but I have never, I don't think. I finished my Naked 2 palette, but even then I had like 4 shades left that I was like, I'm just never gonna get through these. I'm gonna throw it away because I'm so annoyed at still having this palette. So like, at least for me, the final verdict would be that even if you do end up wasting a lot of product, it's not product that you would have used anyway, so who cares? So that's probably my favorite in terms of formula. And I will say that in terms of layout, I am a huge fan of like the old style Too Faced palettes. So this is the Boudoir Ice palette. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that 3 of the shades are so much bigger than the others, but I do like that there's like 3 clear looks and you can still kind of mix and match these shades as you wish. And I think that 9 is a pretty good number in a palette. So this is like pretty close to what I would consider the gold standard in terms of a layout in an eyeshadow palette. So if I could get something like this from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'd be very happy. But in the end, I'm always just gonna have a million anyway, so I'm still happy. And finally, when it comes to lipstick, I'm just gonna have to admit that MAC is the OG. They will always be the OG. Sometimes when people talk about dupes for MAC lipsticks and I try them, I'm just like, are you being serious right now? Because my favorite thing about MAC lipsticks is how well they stay on, like forever. And not a lot of brands that people say are dupes for MAC actually do that. So just saying. But again, they sell in China, which means that they test on animals. So I have to resist. I do think that Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks are really good as well in terms of lasting power. So I would say that they are equivalent in that regard. My issue with them is that they all pull so orange. Like, I can barely use any of them because they look super, super orange on me. I don't know what it is. But I have a theory that maybe because Charlotte herself has red hair, they've kind of developed them for her and she has more orange tones in her skin, and so it looks better on her. I don't know if that's true, but that is just what I think. So those are my favorite products as of now. I'm kind of interested to see if it will change over the year as I have to like dig deeper into my collection to find something new and interesting. I'm also sure that I've missed heaps of products and categories that I could have talked about. So if I've missed your favorite, please let me know. Send me some abuse, that's what I'm into. And please subscribe to my channel and follow my journey, and I will see you later. Bye.